Hi, this is Shelly Kraft. We're coming to you live on SNNLive. We're at the BioTech Showcase 2011, and we're in San Francisco. I'm here with Stan Yakatan, and his company is KAI. Well, you finally got here. Welcome to SNNLive.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Pleasure to meet you.
You finally got here.
Yeah.
It's not like we don't know each other.
The boat was slow. That's what happened.
What's going on? Tell me what you're here for.
Well, first of all, there are 4 concurrent meetings, which is a little bit overwhelming. There's the JP Morgan, there's this meeting, the BioTech Showcase, there's a device meeting called One MedPlace, and then there was an Indian meeting called Epic. I spoke at one. We have about 6 or 7 of our investment companies presenting at the various meetings, so you schlep around from one meeting to another.
Look, it's tiring. You know, you're here like almost the whole week. I mean, and there's people that you see that you know, and you have like an army. You have paparazzi almost. You have what do you call it? A brigade of people following you.
It's called an entourage, and somebody else made a TV show about it.
Or it's also known as a posse. So you have you have your own posse, Steve.
Well, if I was once, probably 20 years ago in this industry, I was a rock star. Now I don't even know who the players are anymore. It's really become enormous. I mean, to have 4 meetings, if you think back, most people don't realize this. The first or second JP Morgan, well, it was called the Hamburg and Quist Conference, but the first or second meeting had maybe 150, 200 people at it, and now there's 15,000 people running around San Francisco. You can't even eat. It's terrible. Question.
What do you do for companies? And I know you focus in the biotech, life sciences, devices. Tell me what do you do for companies?
We really do 3 things. We develop companies formally through strategic development. So we'll develop a business plan. We'll tell somebody if they're financeable, whether they're not financeable. Then we usually serve as the business development department of small companies who really can't afford business development, and we'll do a lot of M&A, we'll do partnering. Our company, probably in the last 4 or 5 years, has done about $1 billion worth of M&A and partnering and financing transactions.
You've been around the business a long, long time. Are you more excited about what's going on today, or do you find it the opposite?
I'm probably one of the only people who you will interview who will tell you it's the opposite. I have a perspective that says, after 40 years of biotechnology, how many new blockbuster drugs can really be developed? If you went to any of the talks today, you heard that out of every, let's say, 2,000 compounds that people are working on, 1 makes it to the market. 60% of drugs in phase 3, 1 makes it to the market. If I go back 25 years ago, 20% of the drugs made it to the market. How can I be more excited? You got all these guys.
So where's all that capital going?
You got all these guys running around, running departments. They call themselves CEOs, but really they're department managers. They're running small departments that if you took that small department and put it into a big company, you would have a department manager, not a CEO. So some guy goes out and gets $2 or $3 million. He puts it together. He does some lab work, maybe files an IND. They file an IND as a drug application. They file the drug application. People get unbelievably excited, and investors run. It's a little bit like a roulette wheel. It's like investing in biotech is like buying a lottery ticket.
Well, you've had some success. So you have a good nose, and you have a smart brain to pick what's going on out there. So with all of that knowledge that you have, all of that experience that you have, what's the one thing that you could tell us right now that we should look for that's going to change the world?
Well, I think there's a lot of interest right now in something as a therapeutic for Alzheimer's. If somebody really came up with something that was truly different, that was a different pathway or a different approach to treating Alzheimer's or other neuromuscular type disorders, that's to me one of the last frontiers. Cancer, to just extend somebody's life for 2 months is no. I mean, all these cancer drugs, what they do is they extend somebody's life for 2 months. Cardiology is pretty well developed. Somebody can develop a better stent or a better procedure for mitral valve replacement. But in terms of blockbuster opportunities, I don't see a lot, although these people believe there are a lot. I'm not going to tell anybody they don't have a blockbuster.
You know what? You've been there, you've done that. Your knowledge is incomparable at a conference like that. One of the things that I noticed that I wanted to also share with you is the partnering that's going on around here. Now, that's good for the companies that you have invested in, isn't it?
The way to generate value today is to partner with a third party, be it a big pharma, be it another medium-sized or small biotech company. Partnering equals validation. That's all partnering means. It's validation. If I come along and you have an idea and I want to license it, or I want to do a transaction with you, or I want to co-develop with you, you become validated as a result of partnering. These companies that are not partnered, they're unvalidated. But they find venture money. There's a lot of money around.
The question that I would ask next, and I'm going to wrap it up pretty soon, but, look, this is stuff that's interesting to me, So I think that it's not that biotech companies weren't looking to partner with big pharma. I think it was that big pharma wasn't really looking to partner with the smaller biotech companies, and that seems to have changed.
That's really been a big dynamic change in the industry. I would say, just look at the amount of money that companies like Merck and GSK and Pfizer spend on R&D, and then you really realize that in the last 5 to 7 years, over 65% of the drugs that they get to the market are drugs that they have in-licensed or partnered. So how efficient is the pharmaceutical development machine? It ain't very efficient. And academic people now, the real difference is since 1981 or 1982, if I was a PhD and I had an idea, I can now tell people I want to make money from my idea. I can try to monetize that idea, where in the 60s and 70s, if you did that, you were ostracized in science.
And you had to go to work for a pharma if you wanted to get a job.
That's right. Yeah, and that's the big difference, and I don't think people realize that. So when I look around and I say to you what I said before, that there are thousands of small little departments. I mean, there's companies that are developing 1 molecule, 2 molecules. That's a small department. One of the companies I started 15 years ago, the first contract we got was with a big pharma company to screen 100,000 chemical compounds with the screening technology we owned. So this company had in their freezers over 100,000, I won't mention the name of the company, but they had over 100,000 compounds. When we got done screening, 16 had biological activity. That meant how many were dogs?
Well, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, what's your website?
www.KatanAssociates.com.
Spell that.
KatanAssociates.
I'm going to try to keep the questions more simple from now on. But for a guy who only had 2 minutes for me, thanks for coming on.
It's my taxi receipt.
Thanks for coming on, SNNLive.
Anytime.
I love you.